Welcome to Mojo Plays, and today we're taking a look at the 10 best weapons in Quake. Just like its boomer shooter predecessors Doom and Wolfenstein, Quake holds a hearty helping of weapons for you to off fiends and shamblers in the most brutal ways possible. Tell us, which Quake weapon is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below as we descend into this dark and brutal world.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Super Shotgun. We'll be the first to admit that the Super Shotgun isn't anything new. The double-barreled pepper spray has been a staple of id Software's games since Doom 2 Hell on Earth. And yet, no matter how many times we use this thing, pulling the trigger never gets tiring. It's just so satisfying to use between the harsh blast and sound of bullets hitting enemies. Of course, if you want a better fire rate at the expense of damage output, you can't go wrong with the lesser, more basic shotgun. Everyone has their own taste, but we preferred 2 barrels of paint. Rocket Launcher.
You're tied for the lead.
Who doesn't love themselves a good old-fashioned rocket launcher? Sure, every shooter has their own RPG of death, but Quake's rocket launchers have always had a special touch to them. They fire at an intense speed that's just comfortable and slow enough for you to admire the incoming death.
You're tied for the lead.
Landing direct hits also feels rewarding thanks to the spectacle of viscera left behind from your rivals. Oh, and then there's rocket jumping. How many times have we blasted ourselves into the sky before blasting our enemies into Chef Boyardee? It's a feeling no other RPG in games has managed to accomplish.
Excellent.
Gauntlet.
Excellent.
Many games feature gauntlets with blades similar to Wolverine or steel-plated knuckles to dent bones and crack teeth. Quake's gauntlet, on the other hand, is lethal in the most painful way possible. This thing is basically just a hefty buzzsaw strapped to the end of your fist, and holy crud, it's hilarious watching dudes fall by your hands, especially when you manage to pull off a stealth kill. Not only that, but its knockback capabilities allow you to bully other players away from pickups and escape routes. Yeah, this one's more for the sadistic players. Napalm Launcher. Speaking of sadistic players, those who use the Napalm Launcher a lot must have some demented satisfaction. No, this is not just your average flamethrower or grenade launcher. This device lobs fireballs that can light up areas in a blaze of glory. However, when playing the single-player campaign, you can't use this thing whenever you please. Smaller enemies will fall without any problems, but the big guys, you're gonna need something a bit more powerful. If you're itching to cook your foes to a crisp good enough to make Gordon Ramsay smile, you'll do better saving your inner arsonist for the multiplayer. Hyper Blaster. Ooh, would you look at that? It's a weapon with 4 barrels. Those looking for more firepower will find solace in the Hyper Blaster. Much like the chain gun, the Hyper Blaster features an impressive fire rate and can decimate foes with its rapid-fire laser blasts. Unfortunately, there is one caveat to this lethal tool. After letting go of the trigger and assuming you haven't wasted all of your ammo, the Hyper Blaster is forced into a bit of a cooldown. One other thing, if you want to retain your energy armor for as long as possible, refrain from using this, as both consume the same ammo. Dang, this one's pretty risky. Tri-Bolt. If you're the wily player who knows how to use maps to their advantage, you probably have a fondness for the Tri-Bolt. This hefty hulk can fire bolts in 3-shot bursts, and once lodged, the bolts sit for a solid second before finally exploding, damaging anyone around them. Needless to say, this is a good way to booby-trap corridors, entrances, exits, and etc. It may not immediately off those with full health and armor, but it'll certainly give you an edge in the fight. Plus, you can use the explosions from these to scale walls. Just make sure you have enough armor to sacrifice. Thunderbolt. The lightning gun is a shocking amount of fun with its damage output and accuracy, no pun intended, but you'd actually want to wield the original weapon, known as the Thunderbolt. With this, you practically have the power of the Shambler in your hands.
Friends are gonna have a hard time peeling you off the wall.
In all honesty, it eats up ammunition like an insatiable glutton, but it does feature an alternate ability that makes it worth your while. Trick your foes into entering a pool of water or acid with you, fire the Thunderbolt, and watch the carnage unfold. I mean, yeah, you're dead too, but at least you went out on your own accord. Railgun. This is a beefy weapon you're introduced to awfully early in the first Quake, and it's so satisfying to use. What you have is basically a sniper rifle that fires slugs at such an incredible speed that it breaks the sound barrier, according to lore at least. As one of the most powerful weapons across the Quake games, you'll be able to turn just about any threat into a pile of plasma with the railgun. And the best part, the slugs pierce through enemies, meaning they do not stop until they hit a barrier or exit the map.
Impressive. Excellent. Excellent.
BFG 10,000. Doom may have the original big freaking gun, the BFG 9000, but Quake has the more powerful brother, the BFG 10,000. It's not all that different from Doom's version though. Firing it will launch a massive green energy ball with protruding tendrils that will deal massive damage to anything in its path. Also, like the Doom iteration, it uses up a lot of ammo and is better to use against bosses and bullet sponge enemies such as Brains, Tanks, and Jorg. Still, cool to see there is a direct connection between Doom and Quake in some capacity. Dark Matter Gun. Do we really need to spell it out? This is a gun powered by dark matter energy. That alone tells you how deadly and lethal this thing really is. Though it fires much more slowly than the BFG 10,000, the dark matter gun can off most enemies with a single hit. If that first shot doesn't kill them, the second one certainly will. So if you see this empty void of explosive death heading your way, don't bother running. Your life is already forfeit.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.